Once the tinnitus sets in, then it's usually not long after that that the ringing in the ears becomes voices in the head.
Today we're going to talk about mental health. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Good mental health is a lot more than not being sick.
LookoutfaCharlie. This is not normal.
This is something that I should have brought up in my last video and I didn't. I tend to do that once in a while because I just plug in the mic and go. But people need to start thinking like police and investigators. No one is piecing this together and saying, you know, what the hell? The mental health narrative and compartmentalization in general helps hide this stuff tremendously. People see a shooting event, a mental health event, a hostage event, a UFO event, a paranormal event, a cryptid event. You know, people need to stop with all these compartmentalizations in their mind. It's all one thing, and if you look at the details, they're all the same. So we've heard the 911 call from the Jason Kloepfer event, but we haven't heard the video where she claims she recorded what was going on. And I really want to hear this and see what it really is, because when you look at it, the 911 call that was placed on Jason Kloepfer by the neighbor sounds exactly like the Kayelyn Louder case. So let's check out the 911 call that was placed on Jason Kloepfer that night before he was shot.
I just heard his wife screaming, "Stop it," and then a bunch of shots went off, and now I can't hear her over there at all.
The 911 caller says the threat was real.
You heard him say that he was going to kill everybody in the neighborhood?
Yes, I even have on video, "Send the police, I'll get them too."
It's interesting that they say, you know, the 911 caller says the threat was real. Well, show us the video with the audio on it that you have. Let me check that out, because I can tell you what's going on in that, and I can tell you whether it's a real human voice or not. If you don't remember the Kayelyn Louder case, in her apartment complex, there was a wedding reception going on at the little, you know, the community center, the communal center of this apartment complex, and she believed that a fight broke out and a gunfight, a firefight ensued. And she calls 911 to state this.
I did hear the fight, but it was very brutal.
Were weapons involved or mentioned?
Yes.
Yes? What kind of weapons?
She heard gunshots. So the police show up and it's just a normal wedding reception. After that, by the next day, this had progressed into her thinking somebody was in her apartment. Now this is a social worker, just a regular chick. This isn't a schizophrenic, and this was done on her. She ran out of her apartment and eventually got herself killed out of the fear and bewilderment of this weapon.
When I was in Shooter's house,
Repeat the address for verification.
they're stealing from my house. Get the out of my house.
Okay, do you know who this person is?
No, I don't. I just know that there's an intruder in my house. They're not talking or responding. I'm just telling them to leave so I can hear them taking things.
So you haven't seen them, you can just hear them?
Yes, correct.
Are they saying anything?
Yeah, I heard someone say, "Hey, go in there." So there's obviously two of them.
So she heard talking and gunshots and fighting and all this stuff. That is the same thing that this caller heard while this guy was sleeping in his home. So something is going on here. We need that video, that audio. You know, and these cops just started firing on him. And I've asked for years now for a law enforcement officer of any kind to take the test, someone step up and send me audio of one night of you sleeping. No cameras, no invasive shit, just one night of audio of you sleeping. And if what's going on that I believe is going on, it would explain a lot. Because these guys just shot as soon as this guy came out. You know, this is operating on multiple levels. All of this has pushed this whole defund the police crap. Defund the police is a psyop. And I'm going to repeat that again. Defund the police is a psyop. If we go back and find out who started the defund the police thing, I bet it will be pretty surprising. Because these people do these things intentionally. They post it intentionally. Then one of their people will post a news article saying, people are saying blank on the internet. However, it was purposely placed. It's like trend setting, influencing. You know, these same people go to BitChute, YouTube, and other channels and write horrible stuff in the comments. Then their people create news articles about it. Look what these evil people are posting. Look at how horrible these people are. These are agents of chaos to keep us fighting the wrong enemy, an imaginary enemy, while they sit in the middle and get fat off everyone around them. They're in the eye of the hurricane. They are the eye of the hurricane. Because if defund the police happens, what replaces it will be way worse. And people will be begging for the police to return. But it'll be too late. You know, they're going to replace it with the Chika. And the Chika was the Bolshevik security force or secret police. And basically what they did was ran around identifying and dealing with potential counter-revolutionaries or dissenters or anybody they wanted. You know, if you want this to end with the police, all you have to do is get rid of qualified immunity. No one can be exempt from prosecution because there are many people who are good out there, but there are also a lot of evil motherfuckers. And not just evil, people who bring their bad attitude and their mood to work with them. And when someone runs from the police, for example, they take this all personal, like they didn't respect their authority. And these people need to quit taking shit personal. It's a job. No one slighted you. The person just wanted to get away. Do your job without your ego involved. And I don't care what your grandpa, your dad, or your relatives have instilled in you. You are not your job. What defines a person is what they do with their lives, not with what they do to put food on the table. You know, these career slaves are scary like that. You know, they think their job defines them, and it does not at all. But going back to this, without the proof that she claims she has, which I need to hear, this case of this 911 call sounds a lot like the Kayelyn Louder incident, because the guy was not saying this stuff, he was sleeping. And I don't care what anybody says, no one has a mental illness where voices and conversations are created by their brain. It's always been a dumb idea. It's an absurd idea. Even in the first diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders, it's not even mentioned. There are no mention of voices. No one heard voices. And that crept in as these weapons evolved.
So again, this idea of being able to put sound anywhere you want to is really starting to catch on. We've got the military had just deployed some of these into Iraq where you can put fake troop movements a quarter of a mile away on a hillside. Or you can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some biblical verse. I'm serious.
And I keep playing and using that clip of Woody Norris because it is one of the few times that people have admitted what this technology out there can do and said it out loud since the late 80s or early 90s. And clearly they told him to shut up afterwards because he has not talked about it since and doesn't talk about it. They only talk about these weapons burning the skin or doing other things. They do not talk about projecting voices. And this is global. The signal is everywhere. They can hit anywhere, anytime. But if you hear a noise, then you need to check it out and make sure that something is really making noise. These people hear footsteps on their roof, in their attic, where no one can walk, in impossible places, and they believe it's real, and it's not real. Or they believe it's paranormal, and that's bullshit. You know, just like I said, whether it's a mental health event, hostage event, UFO event, paranormal event, cryptid event, generally, it is all the same shit. I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't exist. I'm saying that it's so subverted that you cannot trust it. Period. And what this woman describes is identical to what Kayelyn Louder heard. She hears stop it, and then gunshots. And the whole time, Jason Kloepfer and his girlfriend are sleeping.
I just heard his wife screaming, stop it, and then a bunch of shots went off, and now I can't hear her over there at all.
The 911 caller says the threat was real.
You know, they have to back that up with something, but you can clearly see when they go watch my last video if you haven't seen it, that you can clearly see them wake up. They have no idea what the hell is going on. None. So this woman is lying, or she was 4D'd with ELF weapons. And that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Yeah, why won't he do the Nazi stuff?
Look out for Charlie.